hold on there just a second, for just a fucking minute, if I could get those geyser tubes screwed on correctly. Fruity Mentos to add flavor to our winningest victory number for Hendrick Motorsports. All right. And fire. And for Helio Castroneves for his 4th Indy 500 win. Ready, fire! Yeah. Sorry, my dudes, that I did not do it outside because I did not want to get the camera wet. But I digress. Let's get the fuck inside and go through what we just saw. Both races. Now, yeah, I know, I said I wouldn't watch low HP races, but again, as I have to keep stressing hard enough, I'm not watching unless if Hendrick Motorsports is gonna tear it up, let alone become the winningest team in NASCAR history. Oops, hang on, let me check. Did I lock the car? Oh. Hang on a second. I think I left the light on. Sorry, guys, that I am having a rough beginning for this review. Good God, I'm losing my mind. There. All right, so how about that? So what victory did Hendrick Motorsports need to win in order to surpass Petty Enterprise? 269, dudes. Yes way. And something else is big going on too, and that is our main man in IndyCar, one of them is now a winningest driver in Indy 500 history. It was quite the hassle of him trying to get that 4th threshold victory. It was just an everlasting 12-year saga. Unbelievable how I soldiered through every bit of his frustration to join the immortalizing club. Unreal race this weekend. Unreal. I didn't know we would just explode on not only this weekend, but holy mother of Hades, have we been on fire with 2021 with all the good guys that I love going on these big record-breaking milestones. Especially now that Kyle Larson has won the surpassing victory for Hendrick Motorsports. There is no argument anymore. Hendrick Motorsports is just the undisputed GOAT. The only thing they have less than any team ever in, like, the biggest prestige in any NASCAR obstacle is the Daytona 500, and they're only one short. Just one short of tying Petty Enterprise for that one. As you can tell, my kitty here is super excited about what's going on. This was definitely a long time coming. I can't put into words how absolutely flabbergasted I am of this absolutely historical day. Helio Castroneves wins a 4th Indy 500 after 12 years of frustration trying to get that 4th victory. Boy, am I feeling the 2001 vibes when he got his first ever Indy 500 win. Every bit of frustration I saw on live TV of him trying to get that 4th victory. Sorry, my cat is just really loving you guys tonight. So now that Helio Castroneves has the immortalizing winners club of 4 Indy 500 victories, the last time anyone has ever done that was Rick Mears in exactly 30 years ago in 1991. A span of whole 20 years for Helio Castroneves to get to that immortalizing club. 20 whole years to get to where he is today. 2014 was a tough one to lose to Ryan Hunter-Reay. 2017 was also a pretty bad heartbreaker when he couldn't seal the deal against Takuma Sato. 2018, he just completely got obliterated out of the race, but luckily it was my main man, Will Power, winning that Indy 500 for the first time ever in his career. And now, here he is. 20 years of grinding, 20 years of frustration. Helio Castroneves is an immortalized IndyCar legend. Even if he doesn't have a title, he is an outright pure legend. There is no one like that guy. But aside from all of that, that was like one of the better Indy 500s I've ever saw in my life. I do feel bad for Graham Rahal and a lot of other drivers that got screwed out of a potential contention for the Indy 500 because of pit road duds. Alexander Rossi and my second favorite driver, Scott Dixon, got screwed because when they ran out of fuel, they couldn't get the cars fired up, so they had to be stalled in the pits, and they could just muster whatever they could muster out of their completely faltered race days. And in this case, Scott Dixon was lucky to maintain the points lead at least by 13 points when he finished 17th. So there's still hope for the Heavenly Seven for him to also join the immortalizing club. Graham Rahal, just because the pit crew was idiotic enough to completely falter on a one lug nut wheel, and just like that, it completely destroys his dreams of winning the Indy 500. He was even my pick to win that race, and just because of a bad pit stop on both my picks, Alexander Rossi and Graham Rahal, down to the abyss of failed predictions it went. But nevertheless, I am, in this case, glad my predictions failed because Helio Castroneves is your winner. There was a lot of pass for position for the lead. There's always a lot of IndyCar drivers jerking it to the right or left to pass for position. You never knew if they were going to wreck each other or not. You never knew if they were going to even fail or not. Some cases they had to back out of the throttle whenever they were trying to turn to pass into the corners. So whenever the cars fishtail, then they let off the throttle to avoid wrecking. Same case happened when the leaders in the Coca-Cola 600 were hitting lap traffic. Good God, I can't count how many times William Byron and Kyle Busch nearly got LePaged by those shithead Rick Ware vehicles. Good God. Sometimes even the shittiest races have some diamonds completely eclipsed by those piles of excrement burying it. But nonetheless, the Coca-Cola 600 still sucked. Indy 500 was one of the best Indy 500s I've ever watched in my entire life. Maybe not as good as the 2013 Indy 500 with an upwards of 68 lead changes, but still a great one for the books nonetheless. So, yeah. Helio and a Castroneves is now an immortalized Indy 500 winner, even with no full-time ride. Unfortunately, my driver, Will Power, didn't have a day any better than the ones that had pit road duds, which he was also a victim of, so my luck being a Jimmy fan seeps over to me being a fan of Will Power and Scott Dixon, even if he's not on track. Yeah, what are the odds of that? But it doesn't seep over to our current Hendrick Motorsports generation, luckily. Unfortunately, our potential chances of a 1, 2, 3, 4 finish like from Dover was completely derailed. Well, not derailed, but interrupted by this thorn in our sock that is our favorite person to complain about, Kyle Busch. Imagine that. What are the odds of Stat Patty ruining another 1, 2, 3, 4 finish? Yes, even when Kyle Busch does not win, he always has to find some way to torment us. He could go winless for a whole season, he would still find a way to torture us because he still has the chances of ruining Hendrick victories or Hendrick milestones, but in this case, it doesn't really even matter because now Hendrick Motorsports is the winningest team in NASCAR history. Wow, just now that Hendrick Motorsports is the winningest team in NASCAR, Helio Castroneves is an immortalized Indy 500 winner. Where do we go from here? Felt like it was being tortured. Never thought the light at the end of the tunnel would ever come. Was hoping that one day my misery will be gone for good. From 2018 to October 2020, wondering when the dark age for myself was ever gonna see its end. When I'm ever gonna see any lights going nova to brighten up my life. Well, not life, but my luck. Wow. So yeah, Coca-Cola 600, aside from Kyle Busch and William Byron trying to wheel it and not crash lapped cars or each other, this race wasn't all that entertaining at all. I saw the closing laps of Stage 3 and Stage 4 only because my Celtics were sucking harder than a vacuum space against the Nets because, well, they're the Celtics. What else do you expect out of them? Man, obviously they have not been anywhere. Granted, they may have gone close in the playoffs, but they just have not had their mojo since the first decade of the 21st century. The only Boston team to not get a championship over the last fucking decade. The future's looking pretty bright for my Bruins, and Hendrick Motorsports, so I at least have some things to look forward to. I know the 550 horsepower package sucks harder than a vacuum of space, and it was like the third worst Coca-Cola 600 I have ever watched, but it goes without saying that this was a long time coming. I was waiting for Hendrick Motorsports for so very long to finally surpass Petty Enterprise. So long, I've waited here for you. Sorry, Little Black Label Society right there for you, ladies and gentlemen. Because my mood is even more brightened than the sun in the sky and the stars in the sky, depending what range you are from those stars in the universe anyway. So, yeah, other than individual milestones to grind for, where do we go from here? Hendrick Motorsports is just nothing short of an immortalized NASCAR team. They're the undisputed best NASCAR team of all time. There's no debating against that now. You can't deny them. They're irrefutable talents. You can't deny their legacy, ever. Hell yeah, Kyle Larson. Finally, he does not choke a victory. I know it's a victory at a shitty, low HP race, but I just really wanted Kyle Larson to muster up a victory because he got completely fucked out of so many victories that he should have won at least 5. At least 5 victories by now. 5. No excuse for that Kansas race. Bar fucking none. But nevertheless, it's better late than never. Finally, he's a multi-winner of 2021. And now that Hendrick is the winningest team in NASCAR history, it only goes up from there. Whatever it is that these individual drivers at Hendrick Motorsports need to grind for, I can't wait. I couldn't be more stoked. I don't know what they're going to grind for, other than Chase Elliott's road course milestones. But I'm going to love every nanosecond of it. It's going to be awesome loving this new generation. I'll always miss the days of Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Casey Kane, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Terry Labonte, Brian Vickers. All those people. But I'm loving every last nanosecond of this new generation. I suggest you guys enjoy this generation now, because there's going to come a point where the generation they're going to raise, they will sacrifice their careers so they can have their mojos. So I advise you guys to enjoy them now, because when they become immortalized legends or muster up whatever they can out of what they need to salvage, you're going to want this back. I promise you that. So for this, I'm going to really love every last tiny little nanosecond of this new Hendrick Motorsports generation, and I will never forget them for this big, very, actually, big is an understatement, gar-fucking-gantuan. This victory will always be the most gargantuan for Hendrick Motorsports. Where do they go from here? Who the fuck knows? We only keep on going from here. Our journey, our saga may be over, but that doesn't mean our stories of the future won't be told from here. Our stories are not over. Far from over. We still have a lot of stuff to do. A hell of a lot of stuff to do. Space out, everybody. Go Hendrick Motorsports. Go Helio Castroneves.